Hey everybody, this is your pal Joseph Dixon. I've never said pal in my life, not even quoting anybody. I always thought that is so cheesy and so not me, but I just said it. So what can you do? Anyway, um, I'm making this short video. Somebody asked me one day, and then something happened, and I did not get to answer their question. So, and I just thought, why not in the world? Why in the world can I not make a video and post it? Everybody posts videos of everything else. What do we have? We had I forgot exactly what it was called. The water challenge where people were dumping ice water, from buckets on people's heads for different reasons and causes. We had what was that? The thing with the cinnamon challenge, where you got to eat a spoonful of cinnamon. I think some people died or almost died, or I don't know, choked, their lungs fell out, or something. I don't remember. All kinds of things. Videos post all kinds of things. People post videos of all kinds of things. So I think that myself and anybody else would have the right uh, to post one like this. So, boy, this is a hard video to make. Number one, I'm not a selfie type person. I there's never been there's never been a time in the history of me being alive that I absolutely could not stand my face. I can't stand my face, my smile, my teeth, boy, my just my physical body. So this is very hard to hold this phone in my hand and record this and record my face like this. Ugh, I need to shave my head. What's left to shave? Remember, guys, I used to have dreadlocks and spiked hair. Boy, I couldn't do that now if I wanted to now. So, but that's just how the old pickle squirts, I guess. So anyway, what this person asked me, I forgot their exact words. Things were kind of in a rush, but they had asked me, "What in the world changed with you? I heard you have been going to church for years now. What happened?" In school, you and I used to joke about it and laugh about it. We just thought church and all this God stuff was just the silliest. I think I think I even called it back then the silliest, most what did I call it? Most made up crutch of man that mankind has ever made up. Something like that. I really, that's just really what I thought. Based on the few things that I knew about it or thought I knew about it or felt about it. You just kind of form your own opinion, and that's kind of what I did, like everybody else. And that's just how it is with life. But I didn't get to answer the question, and today I was just sitting around. I don't have any notes. Actually, I just woke up from a much needed nap a few minutes ago. On here looking rough. Don't have any notes, but I just, I mean, you all know me. I'm the type, I just kind of take whatever I think and type it and press enter. So this was too much to type, so I'm just gonna make a video instead. So, what in the world caused Joseph Dixon to start going to church and uh, decide to follow Jesus? Well, boy, like I said, I thought God, the Bible, things of the Lord, church, Christians, I thought it was just some fake, made up stuff for weak people. Um, all the other religions that I knew of at the time, I just figured those to be much of the same. Uh, I didn't have anything against them. I didn't hate anybody. I wasn't against them or their religion or their beliefs. No, nothing like that. I was the type, and still am, can be friends with anybody. Would stand up for anybody. So that those kinds of things did not bother me. That was no there was no issue there. I just thought it was stupid and it wasn't for me. So check this out. I'm gonna get to this now. I was I was 22. I was playing in a few bands at the same time and working a full time job. You might remember I used to work at this Enterprise Rent a Car in Anderson. So I'm supposed to go to a band rehearsal. This was on a Thursday evening. And, okay, see, I'm messing up already. This is what happens when you don't have notes, but that's all right. It was a Sunday. My friend Louie and our friend Marla, we were going to go to see some bands in Indianapolis at the Emerson, I think, or something like that. I don't know if any of you remember, I used to have this Toyota minivan with these bunch of punk rock stickers all over it and all over the back and things like that. Man, that van was just like the best van ever. But anyway, the check engine light came on, which had never happened before. That van was just so rock solid and would just go and go. But all of a sudden on this Sunday evening, the check engine light came on. So I immediately get kind of just get kind of peed off, and well, we're not even going to go because I don't know how to fix anything till this day. If a check engine light comes on, it's just I don't know anything about it other than it's 2 words to read that mean I don't have money to fix it. So I just got kind of mad and I was like, man, forget it. We're just going to go to what everybody knows was the only thing to do back in Anderson back then. You go to Perkins. You go to Perkins and you sit and get a Coke refill till 4:18 a.m. and go home. So we go to Perkins. As soon as we walk in, us three, we see this group of girls, like 7 girls off to the left, and you could tell they were church girls. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine, but we could tell they were. Immediately they're looking at us. They're giving us funny looks because at the time I was growing my dreadlocks out. At the time, my great most closest friend Louie, he had green hair, real long green hair, and I think Marla, she looked like a witch. She looked like she had powers. She looked like she had powers or something. So we noticed them looking at us and kind of laughing, getting a few chuckles, and that's fine. When you dress like we used to, boy, if you don't expect that, then you're gonna be in for a lot of heartache. So anyway, we sit down and we have our Perkins, and we're not going to stay long because I'm already kind of still mad about this check engine light because this is something else I didn't have money for. Who wants to see a check engine light on when you're 22? So we have our Perkins and we're just kind of winding it down. And during that time, I really noticed these girls looking at us kind of, oh, look how funny they look. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but, you had a good idea. So I take a napkin. Let me see, should I demonstrate this here in this video? Yes. I'm putting on my slippers. Those of you who know me know I'm got real sensitive feet or something. I don't walk across carpet. I don't, and I definitely don't walk around barefooted. So I have to wear slippers. Boy, we don't have any napkins in this house, do we? We have paper towels, but I don't know if that'll work. Hold on, because this is going to be worth it. I'm going to show you what I did to these church girls. And I hope some of them see this video because I guarantee they'll laugh. I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking in the cabinet. Hey, I see some napkins. All right. We have 250, well, it was 250 Home Sense Kroger napkins. This is going to be so worth it. I'm going to demonstrate what I did. I mean, y'all know me. I've been doing little silly, stupid things since kindergarten. So I'm just trying to make them laugh, like we're going to give them something to laugh at before we leave. And so I take a napkin. I'm unfolding a napkin. Okay, how am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to take a pillow now and put it here. Look at our wedding pictures. And okay, I'm demonstrating this. Let's see if I still have the skills. Oh, this is going to be worth it. But some of you might be like, That was dumb. That wasn't even funny. I don't know. I'm just telling you what happened, and I'm demonstrating it for you. So if you don't like it, that's all right. Or you could make me a video of how I could have done it better for, so we can get some ultimate goofiness. That's what we really need to do. Hold on. It's going to be worth it. So we're in Perkins. They're acting silly. And I do this, and I wait for them to look. I get this napkin all prepared, and I wait for them to look. And then when I notice they're looking again, I go, I do that. And they bust out laughing and all that. So that was good. So now it's time to leave. It's time to pay. We go out to my van, and Louie and Marla go around to the other side to get in, and I hear these little footsteps, and I didn't think much of it. And then I hear these girls, hey, you. I think they might have actually said, hey, you weird people, or something like that. Somebody said something like that. So we're used to this. This kind of thing used to happen all the time. It was kind of normal. So I'm pretty nice, never been stuck up or anything. So turn around, like, yeah, hey, what's happening? And they're just some young teenage girls, and one of them I don't even know that she was 9, Shannon. So they were inviting us to something. I didn't really know what they were talking about. They were saying something like, hey, would you want to come to our tent outreach? I didn't know really what that was. So I noticed more than half of the girls went to the other side of the van where Louie and Marla were. So obviously they're talking to them over there too. I don't know what a tent outreach is. They're still laughing because of my great, little napkin thing I did. And then some of them are on the other side. I don't know what they're talking about. They're inviting us to something that I wasn't understanding. I was still kind of in not the greatest mood because of this check engine light that had come on in my van. For no reason, check engine light comes on. So I'm still thinking about that, and I'm just wanting to go home now. So they're inviting me to something. They're wanting to get my phone number so they can call me and tell me more about it or something. And they're like, yeah, can we have your phone number? We'll give you a call and we'll explain. And I'm just trying to hurry. I'm just like, but I didn't want to give them my phone number. I don't know these people, and I'm in a kind of a crappy mood. I just wanted to leave. And I'm like, well, yeah, just get a hold of me. But we don't have your number. I'll call you. But you don't have our number. Oh, I'll find it. I'm just trying to hurry up. Little did I know, these girls had went around to the other side of the van, and my friend had given them my number. I don't know if it was kind of a joke or what, but it was when I found that out later, it was pretty funny. So that's Sunday night. I drop them off. I go home, not even thinking anything else about it. I went to work the next day, Monday. I got home, and there were 3 messages from 3 of the different girls. There were 7 altogether. There were messages from 3 of them telling me about this tent outreach. Evidently, someone was going to set up a tent on the corner of 16th and Madison, and it was going to have something to do with church. I was like, oh boy, okay. So there were those 3 messages. Go to work Tuesday. I come home. Obviously they had given my phone number. They'd all shared my phone number with each other, and they're taking turns calling me now, because now there's 4 messages from these girls. Same thing on Wednesday. Here is 3 or 4 more messages from the ones that hadn't left a message before, and they sound so goofy. They sound so innocent and nice. They've left me messages 3 days in a row. Now Thursday comes around. This tent outreach was going to actually start on that night. Start on Thursday. It went from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I think maybe 5 of them. It's been quite a while. I was 22 when this happened. So now 5 of them have called and left me a message on that Thursday. And my nickname was Six back then. Some people still call me Six today, and that's fine. But they're like, "Yeah, Six, are you gonna come tonight? It starts at I think it started at 6. Oh wow, 6! No, never mind. That was silly. So now I'm thinking, man, I bet these young girls have told everybody about this guy they met at Perkins and this other guy with green hair and this girl that looked like she has powers. And I bet there's a bunch of people waiting to see what these girls are talking about and see who this guy is. Here I am with dreadlocks, I'm thinking, boy, do I want to put myself in that situation, go to church, because all I knew about church at the time was that you have to be you have to have some dressy clothes, and you've got to look all a certain way. It's pretty sad that was my number one impression of church and church people, that would be what's most important. And of course, there was no way I was the only one in the world who had felt that way. But that's how I felt. And here I am. I wore leather jackets, combat boots, uh, shirts with people, that had blood coming out of their head on them. I was like the opposite of what I thought a church goer would and should look like. But here I've had these girls take turns calling every day, 4 days in a row now. I'm supposed to be in Indianapolis at 7 to practice, but this tent outreach thing started at 6. So I thought, you know what? I'll just go by and just make an appearance for a few minutes just to be nice, because these girls have just put so much energy and or whatever into this. So I'm just gonna go make an appearance. So I'm coming down the road on Madison Avenue, headed towards 16th Street, and I see the tent, and I see a lot of people, and then one of the girls sees me coming down the street. She's talking to a friend. Oh yeah, yeah, and whatever. And then she sees me. Oh, that's him, that's him, that's him. That kind of a thing. So even if I would have changed my mind and wanted to try to hurry up and turn off and go the other way and leave, it was kind of too late now, because now she's gotten the attention of other people standing around, and I see a few people starting to gather around. Oh, is that him? Is that him? Oh. And they're like waiting for me to park, like I'm. Maybe they thought I was gonna speak at this thing or something. I don't know. I still laugh about it to this day. I was 22, now I'm 46, and it's still funny. So I pull up to park, and there's several people watching me park. They're just watching me park. And now I'm thinking, what in the world have I gotten myself into? I'm looking around to see if there's anybody I knew. It's on 16th and Madison, so I've got to know somebody. And I didn't see one person I knew. So I'm wanting to open my door and go ahead and get on out. And then I'm also thinking, boy, what kind of mistake or waste of time is this going to be? And again, before I could think about starting the engine again and go ahead and leaving, here come every one of those girls to the van, to my side of to my door, and they're waiting for me to get out. They're just looking at me like, he's here, he came. And I'm like, oh boy, I got to get out now. So I got out. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know what a tent outreach was. I couldn't tell if this was just a cookout by people who go to a church, or what it was exactly. I don't know. I had no background in going to church or anything with the Bible or God or uh, Christians. I had no idea. So I'm expecting that I'm going to get laughed at or talked about, or there's going to be comments about the way I look, this whole punk rock thing. But that didn't happen at all. Didn't happen at all. People come over to say hi. They asked me what some of the stickers on my van meant and who they were. Some could tell that they were stickers of a band. So that was nice. They seemed like they were just genuinely interested in what I was interested in. And that wasn't at all what I thought some church people would be like. So they invite me over to the tent. There were hot dogs and things like that. And some woman, I can't remember who that was now, but some woman just had a plate of the best cookies I'd ever had. And boy, I was tearing them mugs up. Yeah, there was a lot of people there. I hope she had some more cookies. I till this day don't know, because I put a big dent in them. And I don't know if anybody else got those cookies, but I did. So what can you do? So then the service started. I remember the woman who I now know, who I later learned it was called the worship leader. And I've told her this. I thought she was really crazy. She was having her hands up in the air. She was looking up in the sky, playing the keyboard, and then she would look at me and point and wave. And I mean, she really seemed really crazy to me because I didn't know what was supposed to happen. They're singing these songs, look up in the air. People are lifting their hands, and I just thought these were some brainwash Jim Jones kind of stuff. I didn't know if they were going to cook me, capture me. I didn't know, and I certainly didn't want to drink any punch because I mean, I'm being serious. I didn't know. I didn't know if I'm on Jim Jones territory or what. So the music part finished, and then this real big guy who I learned was the pastor came out to speak, and now I'm looking at my watch because I'm thinking, okay, I've come here, I've made my appearance. Need to go ahead and get on out of here. I've got to get to Indianapolis. A little more time goes by. Now I'm late, and I was playing with guys. One of the guys, my good friend John Gunnell, who's now the bass player for John Mellencamp, and he's also been on the road with Ted Nugent, and I could go on and on. A guy that I also consider to be like my big brother I never had, Darren Owens, his brother Mick, good friend Lyle on guitar, and boy, am I forgetting anybody? Nope, I don't think I am. And these were dudes that I shouldn't have even been in this band. These guys were just way above me. I had to play to the very tip top of my potential, and to be in this band, and I still wouldn't. I don't see why they picked me to be their drummer. So this wasn't a situation where I could just go around being late, but something was keeping me there. I mean, that's all. That's the only way I could explain it. Next thing you know, the sun's going down. I'm an hour late now going to this rehearsal. I ended up staying for the whole service. I didn't really know what that man was talking about at that time. I didn't get it. People were nice, and those cookies were really good. And do you know, that was Thursday night. And do you know the next day, Friday, I came back again? I came back. The same band, we had to rehearse again in Indianapolis, and my silly tail goes to this tent outreach again. I don't even know why. I mean, at the time, I didn't even know why. Why am I going to this thing again? Yeah, I'll get some more cookies and I'll leave and go to practice. And I stayed for the entire service again. I show up at rehearsal. I tell them some kind of something happened because I don't know how to explain this tent outreach thing. I don't know how to explain what the pastor, this big man was talking about. And now I've got four brothers who done real things in the music industry and are way bigger than my skinny tail, looking at me like, "Hey, we are here to do this band and putting in our time, and here it is. You showed up late 2 nights in a row." So I made up something and went with it. Well, the next day, Saturday of the tent outreach started earlier, and I went again. I went again. It started earlier and ended earlier, I think. I can't remember, but we had a show that night, and I barely got there in time to set up. They were mad, and I didn't tell them the truth. I don't know if I was embarrassed or confused at the time. I just didn't feel that I could tell them. So I made up something and got through the night. Well, that ended on Saturday evening, the last night of the 10 outreach, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So then the week goes by. Somehow, well, I know how, those girls, a big muscle guy, my big brother Mark Long, he called me a few times during the week. "Hey, Six, this is Mark. I met you at the 10 outreach. Just want to let you know where our church is and what time we have services." And now I'm figuring, okay, maybe they use this tent outreach thing and these cookies to suck people in, and then you go to this church and then you get brainwashed and drink punch. I mean, I'm serious at the time. Remember, I don't know anything about church at the time. And don't you know, that next Sunday, I find myself going to that church. I got up on purpose to go to that church. My parents were asking me, "Where are you going on Sunday this early?" I can't remember what I told them, but again, at the time, I didn't know if I was embarrassed. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to explain it, but I didn't want anybody to know because I didn't know why I was going. Had no idea. I'm still sleepy from playing the Saturday night before and getting home late. And now I'm getting up early on purpose to go to church. So I go to church. And then I did it again the next Sunday. Now I've gone 2 times in a row. And then I did it again the next Sunday. I'm like, what is wrong with me? What is going on? Well, but now my mom, who just, I just really have no doubt that she knows everybody in Anderson. Not only does she know who everybody is, she even knows who they knew. People she ain't met. I mean, she knows everybody's parents and grandparents. Oh, and so, when they came here from DeKalb, Mississippi, they married that. And then, I mean, she just, to this day, I mean, you don't need to go to a library, look at microfilm or something if you're trying to find the origin of somebody or who they married or how they got here or who their people are. You ask Jackie Dixon. So anyway, now I've come 3 times in a row. I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay, but check this out though. Check this out. I I grew up pretty dang good. No, things weren't perfect. We had several years where, like a lot of people, we was on government cheese, and my parents doing the best they could to take care of us and take care of things. And I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. I loved my parents so much. My parents were funny. We had great times growing up. I loved my sisters, even though at the time I treated one of them terribly because I just didn't know any better. And it took me years to where she would even just tell me that she loved me, and it meant everything when she did because I just tormented that girl. All right, let me try to stay on subject. What I'm saying is I didn't have the normal reasons that some people would have, especially a 22-year-old would have, to be super depressed and suicidal, and I totally was. I was so depressed and suicidal probably since I was 13. No, no, no. Earlier than that, I'll say 10. I think I was 10 o'clock riding my bike the first time I thought about how nice it would be to time it and ride out in front of a truck and get hit by a truck, because just the racism that I had dealt with growing up in Anderson. I was such a friendly kid, such a friendly person. Just wanted to be friends with everybody and just make people laugh and people to make me laugh. Just that's what I wanted. And well, people were just so cruel to people and terrible and horrible and just so many things which can be and are normal, but it really affected me deeply. And at a very early age, I became super depressed. So here I am, this super depressed kid that really wants to make people laugh because I didn't want people to feel how I felt. So I probably came across way too strong, goofy. People probably thought there was something really wrong with me or that I was crazy. But I just really I didn't want anybody to feel how I felt. And don't you know, right at the time of this tent outreach and then me going to these church services the next 3 weeks, that happened during the worst time in my life. I had actually made a plan a few years before that I was not going to live to be 23. I figured I was going to kill myself by the time I was 23. I made the best I could back then. We didn't have internet back then, or at least that I knew of. I barely know how to use it now, so I definitely didn't know how to use whatever we might have had back then. But the best I could do to research, I researched what's the best angle to put a gun in your mouth and what's the best caliber to use to make sure that you kill yourself, and just that it actually works, because things were just so bad for me. It's like I just couldn't do anything right, and I could just totally see me trying to kill myself and only blow off my ear, and then I can't hear well enough to play in a band anymore. That's probably what would have happened with Joseph Dixon. So I did my best to research how to kill myself. Um, My dad had a gun, and I knew it was a big one, and they were going to go on a cruise, which is a big step for my parents because we don't do boats and waters and planes and danger and water. That's drowning and danger. So, but nonetheless, they were going to go on this cruise. So it's like that's going to be my weekend. I remember sitting in their room. I remember this just like it was yesterday. Sitting in their room on their bed. I got up and got my dad's gun. No second thoughts. So you have to understand when you get to to the level of depression that I was in, and when you live a lifestyle of depression and suicide thoughts, you kind of you really walk around. Some will say I was like the living dead, or I was like a zombie. I always explained it like this. I remember being in classrooms. One moment, I'm making people laugh, and trying to do something stupid to make people laugh or whatever. And right as I'm doing whatever it was I was doing, which was almost an act, which was an act at a lot of times, I would act that way because I didn't want people to know how badly I wanted to be gone from here. I didn't want anybody to know. I remember getting home from school, say hi to my parents because you just don't walk in our house and not speak to nobody. You just don't do that. But I remember walking in the house, and I'd hurry up and go up the steps as fast as I could after I said hello. And before I could even get all the way up the steps, I remember you start busting into uncontrollable tears. I had years like this. Nobody would have known this. Nobody would have known this. I mean, it got really bad starting when I was 13. And here I am. I go all, through middle school and through high school like this, and nobody knew. I reached out to my real good friend at the time, Monica. I think she might have knew, but I don't think she knew it was this bad. But but yeah, when you get this low, when you get this far gone, I remember the actual feeling, physical feeling in my body was cold. And I explain it like the cold as if I was dead, like that of a corpse. I would feel that. It got to where I almost couldn't even be funny anymore. It got to where I couldn't hardly be fake. I could hardly fake being silly anymore because you begin to change when you get this far down. You begin to not even care about keeping up the act anymore. You begin to not care about making people laugh. You even start to not to not care if people find out and know what's going on. And that's a huge one because when you're going through this, when you're in this lifestyle of depression and suicide, you don't want people to know because you get to where you actually. I'll say it this way: when I would hear about other people that killed themselves, I would get happy. I would be so happy for them because I felt like, wow, they finally made it. They finally got out of here. I would be happy for them. It got to where stuff like that, things like that, were the only things that made me happy sometimes. And boy, that's not. You can't know what that's like unless you have been there, or unless you're going through it. It's terrible. I wouldn't wish it on the worst person on this planet. I wouldn't wish that they go through that. See, depression and suicide is different from other things. If you're an alcoholic, if you have an issue with drug addiction, you kind of need some alcohol or a drug addiction to feed it. But when you're depressed, when you're suicidal, when you have reason after reason, which might not be good reasons, but they are reasons to you, and they are real reasons to you. They are your experiences, no matter what anybody or what anybody's book says, or what any counselor or therapist says. So no matter what's right or not, they are still your reasons. Boy, I totally lost that. It was going to be good though. But when you are down that far, you get to the point where you're not going to have second thoughts anymore. I said earlier, I was sitting on my parents' bed with the gun without one drop of hesitation. I didn't care, or it didn't even enter my mind Well, this might not be the best place to do it, Joseph. You're in your parents' room. They're going to be sad enough that you're gone, that you've blown your brains out. But now they've got to clean your brains out of their room and off their bed and off their walls. You don't think about that stuff. All I thought about was, here in less than a minute, I'm going to be gone. I've done my research. Nobody cares, which there's no way I could have known that nobody cared because I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk to anybody about it. That's one of the mistakes we make. I say we, as in people that have gone through this or are going through this. I know you. I get you. I get it. Okay? But we're doing ourselves a huge disservice by not speaking to somebody, not going to somebody about it. Yeah, probably most of the time somebody will either not care or they won't know what to do, or they'll try something and it will be such the wrong thing that you'll just kind of turn them away, or it just won't really help. And again, not belittling them, not putting them down, but some people just don't honestly know what to do, and they try their best and they say things, just be positive. They will tell you, just be happy. They'll tell you to just find something you like to do, or they'll tell you things that to them are very helpful, and they're good things to say. There's nothing wrong with telling somebody to be positive, but I'm telling you, for whatever reason that you're going through this, when you get that far down to when you are going to take yourself off this planet, those words don't really mean a lot. If those words even go in your head, because you get so far down that you are like a living corpse. You feel the actual cold in your body as if you were dead. So reasoning is not going to go in your head. Counseling may not go in your head. Even a loved one close to you that finds out or knows something's going on, it may not even matter. So I don't know how much of this would have been made better if I would have went to somebody and said something. I don't know. A lot of times in the black community, especially back then, counseling and therapy is kind of looked at like, so and so go sits on somebody's couch. One of them shrinks, they crazy. That's just kind of how it was. So you didn't dare tell anybody you have wanted to kill yourself for years. So anyway, I'm on my parents' bed with the gun in my mouth. I've researched. I have not one drop of hesitation about doing this. I can't wait. Matter of fact, moments before I was going to do it, I began to get happy. I remember smiling with the gun in my mouth. I remember this tooth right here, this gray one from a root canal, from getting elbowed in the tooth. I remember it touching the tip of the gun because I was smiling. I was so happy that I was about to get out of here. And without one drop of hesitation, the conditions are right. My parents are gone. Everybody's gone. I'm about to be out of here. Without hesitating, I squeezed the trigger. It didn't move. The trigger didn't move. Now, everybody knows Joseph Dixon did not grow up hard. I didn't know a whole lot about guns, but I knew to check the safety and all that. Everything seemed fine. It wasn't jammed. There was nothing lodged in it. There was nothing in the way of any moving parts. I cannot see why it wouldn't work. And without any hesitation, I put it right back in my mouth far enough and at the angle that I researched and tried to pull it again, and it still did not work. I remember this, hold on, this finger right here, that part of my finger right there had a dent in it from how hard I was pulling the trigger. And I mean a dent in the skin. I don't mean I dented the bone. I mean, I wasn't that strong, but the point is, the trigger was not moving and there was nothing wrong with the gun. So I began to get frustrated. I remember thinking, boy, I can't even do this right. And, I had always felt like a failure. I was good at a couple things. Used to be really good at pencil drawing, and I was decent at playing drums. And now I can't even do this right. All you got to do is pull a trigger. And now I'm screwing that up. So I stand up, I kind of pace around the room a little bit. I'm huffing and puffing. I'm getting mad, and because I'm supposed to be gone now. I'm supposed to be gone now. So I pick the gun up again, and I try to do it again. And till this day, I can't explain what happened. There's no video footage. There's no witnesses. I can't explain. But after I tried it again, I wasn't able to have any thoughts or remember anything until I heard some birds chirping. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't feel. I mean, what I mean by that, I couldn't feel if I was laying on the ground. I couldn't feel if part of my head was off. I couldn't even think any thoughts I'll never forget it. I could not even think any thoughts. There were birds chirping. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. Then I finally got to a point where I could finally think some thoughts. And the first thought I had was, I hear some birds. Oh no, either I didn't do it or I messed up. And I remember trying to move my left hand, this one right here. I remember trying to move my left arm. And it took a while till I was finally able to move it. And I remember reaching up to the side of my face and feeling the back of my head to try to feel if I had blown part of my brains out or part of my head off, or did I blow one of my eyes out? Is that why I can't see? Is that why I can't open them? And what I feel so funny, I must have screwed up my suicide. And then after that, the only thing I could think of, remember I said that pastor, the big man that spoke at the 10 outreach, it came to me just like that, just like that. Every man that man had said, every word he preached, everything he said, every word he said was directed totally at me. I didn't know it at the time, but right then, as I'm laying on the ground, listening to hearing the birds, can't open my eyes yet, I realized, I thought it was just me realizing it at the time, but God was showing me that I'm supposed to be here. He was showing me that I was supposed to be there at that time. Every word that man said, every word that man preached was right at me. He talked about things that was going on with me. He didn't say my name. I don't even know that he looked at me. But every word he said was directed right at me, and I will never forget it. Right then, I knew that God was real. I knew all this Jesus, gospel, Bible stuff was real, because there's no way that man could not have known me at all and read my mail, as we say, and read my mail the way he does. And I didn't get it until then, even though I had been to a church service, outside of the 10 outreach. I'd been to 3, wow, I can't even count. I've been to 3 church services. I had no idea that everything, I wasn't getting it. I wasn't putting it together. God let me go down to the lowest point that I could possibly go to reveal himself to me. And I will never forget it. No matter how bad I screw up, no matter what areas of sin I choose to dive headfirst into, God showed me right then and there that I'm supposed to be here and that I matter to him. And all this, I had just learned what the gospel is in the last 3 weeks, that he sent his only son to take all my sins upon himself, to be your ransom for my sin, to make a way for me to get back to God. I didn't get it. I'd kind of heard that a little bit growing up, but I didn't understand it. And now I totally get it. He let it happen. And then I begin to think, those goofy girls in Perkins must not have been some accident, some random thing. And then after that, after I realized all that, well, what I thought was realizing it, but it was God showing me, then I was able to open my eyes. The sun was coming up. It was 5:38 a.m. The sun was coming up. The first thing I did was feel my head and look around to see if I could see any bloody chunks and this and that. And I realized not only did it not work, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. God, I think that I remember thinking God must have stopped it from happening, because remember, I tried to pull the trigger 3 times on a gun that was perfectly fine, and it didn't work. So now I know more than ever that this was like no accident. Wasn't some kind of coincidence. There's something going on. I'm supposed to be here, and I'm kind of freaking out. Remember, it's 5:38. I put the gun up. I tried to, straighten up the bed a little bit because I was sitting on the corner of it. So mom and dad could not tell that somebody was on their bed. And I washed my face and brushed my teeth. And I got in my van and I went to that church. Remember, it's not even, at this time, it wasn't even 6:15 yet. I go to the church and I park way in the back of the parking lot. I remember hearing something about the musicians and singers show up early for rehearsal. So I park way in the back. I figure nobody will bother me. I try to go ahead and doze off a little bit and go to sleep. I was going to say I'm confused at the time, but I really wasn't confused because now I get it. I don't really know what it all means, but I know that what I just tried to do did not work because God stopped it. Not only did he stop it, God used these 7 goofy church girls to get me to go to this tent outreach. And if I would not have done that, I would not have heard those 3 nights in the tent outreach. Every word he said was about me, was at me. I didn't get it then. Those next 3 church services I went to, every word that man said, every word he preached was about something going on with my life, something that was just unique to my situation. No accident at all. No accident at all. I don't know what to do. All I know was that I just need to go back to this place and try to find out what's going on. So I'm trying to doze off. Next thing you know, this really nice, charismatic guy comes out and he knocks on the window. Bang, 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 bang. Hey, 6. They're in there rehearsing right now, but come on in. So I'm like, oh man, I need to. Church didn't start till 10:30. Now I'm hungry. I need to go get an egg McMuffin or something, and now I got to come in here. I didn't really want to talk to anybody because something that could not have been anything but a miracle just happened to me. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't want to talk to anybody. Now here I am. I'm having to put on my best act and talk to people and be nice because I'm not stuck up and antisocial. But I can't explain. Anyway, that morning, I decided to follow Jesus. When the service first started, he made an invitation to follow the Lord, for people to choose to follow the Lord. Right as the music wasn't even done yet. I don't know if that service was just for me or not. I don't know. But I know that without even preaching, without even making any church announcements, he went directly to making an invitation to come forward and ask and choose to follow Jesus. And that's what I did. And I have never been the same since. Yes, I've gotten down about some things, especially these last 4.5 years. When you get a false protective order slapped on you and your children removed right out from under you and you didn't do a thing to deserve it, yeah, you're going to get depressed. You're going to get mad. You're going to do some things that may not be yourself. So I went through a hard time. Went through some hard times before that. No man is perfect. But I have never been the same since then. Never. Even going through the terrible time here in this house when I didn't when I didn't know where my kids were, if there was some other man tucking them in, if they were being beaten, malnourished, I had no clue. I knew no information about my children for almost 7 months. It took me 7 months to see my children. I went through some terrible times here in this house, y'all. But there wasn't one time when I wanted to kill myself. God totally changed, or what Christians will say, delivered me from that. Totally delivered me from that. See, when you get saved, when you choose to follow Jesus, I'm sure some of you have heard of the Holy Spirit. You are filled with His Spirit. and you become a new creation. So if you're a new creation, there has to be some kind of evidence that you're a new creation. If an apple becomes a pear, you ought to be able to look at it and it looks like a pear now. You know, that's what happened to me. And these were things that I couldn't have done or changed in myself. So, I mean, I can make a big, long list of things that prove to me that God is who he says he is. I mean, I could do that easily. You know, I can make another, this video was at 50 minutes and 31 seconds. I was hoping I could do it in 15. Yeah, brother jacked that up. I couldn't make that happen. Boy, where was I? I don't know where I was, but I know where I am now. Completely changed, completely different. Things I used to think, things I used to wonder, things I used to do and say aren't a part of me. And it's not because I've been brainwashed. It's not because I read some book that was made up by who knows who and I don't know any better. And it's not that I'm leaning on the crutch that I used to think was all this God stuff. Oh no. It's because God is real and he saved my life and he changed my life. And I've seen him do it to other people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with me making a video and talking about it. And if anybody listens, that's great. If anybody out there if anything that I've said has gotten you to wonder, or maybe you are in that place right now, or maybe you don't understand all this God and Jesus stuff, but you know everything that you have tried has not worked. Every one that you have tried, every other source and vices, anything that you've tried has not helped you, has not bettered your situation, has not changed your situation. I'm telling you, all you've got to do is just honestly come to him. You don't have to burn candles. You don't have to put on some special costume. You don't have to do some ritual. You could even be right. You could even be on the toilet watching this video right now, and you can receive Jesus into your life. You can choose to follow him. All you have to say is, Lord Jesus, I'm messed up. You can tell him what this messed up stuff is. You can tell him what you've done. He knows it already, but you can do that. You can name things if you want. All you have to do is just say, Lord Jesus, I'm hurting. I'm depressed. I don't know it all. I've tried all these things and nothing has helped. Lord, I need you. I believe that that God sent you to earth and that you died the most horrible death for me and that you rose from the grave to cover my sins and so that I could sit at the right hand of the Father one day. Lord Jesus, I believe that, and I just ask that you save me, that you be my Savior right now, in Jesus' name. That's all you got. That's all you got to say. That's all you have to say. That's all and you just have to mean it. And if you said that prayer, if you prayed that prayer, if you don't know what to do next, contact me. If you have any amount of any questions, contact me. I don't know everything, but I'll get with some people who if I don't know the answer, I'll sure will get with somebody that will. If there's anything that I can help you walk through, especially in the area of depression and suicide, boy, I don't know too much, but I know this subject matter well. Don't hesitate to contact me. If you choose to pray that prayer, no, not everything's going to be perfect. Things aren't going. This is what happens when you don't think this through. When you just turn on a video and press record, you get stuck like this. I still went through some things after I decided to follow the Lord, and you will too. But myself and so many others can be, if you let us, can be right there with you. So whoever you are out there that's still watching this, 54 minutes and no, exactly 55 minutes now. If you made it through this and you're still watching, if there's anything I can do for you, any questions I can ask, if you prayed that prayer and you're not sure what to do or where to go next, contact me. I love you, and God loves you. Everything I've said is true. It's jacked up because I didn't make any notes or think this through very much. I just kind of pressed record, but that's just kind of how it is sometimes. So I thank you for still hanging in there watching this, watching my crusty face. And yeah, I need to get that fixed on the ceiling. I'm sure if somebody has wondered what that is, need some plaster or something. I'm not some construction guy. I don't know what it is. I just know it's showing in this video, and I figured I better say something about it. But if there's anything I said in this video, anything I can do to help you or answer questions, if you're confused, if you're depressed, boy, I just can't say enough to contact me. Because I've been there, and I get it, and I get you. But more importantly, the Lord gets it, and the Lord gets you, and He loves you. I babbled enough. I better shut up. Have a good night. Love you.